Study with Artemis, Inc. podcast. This information was produced with the assistance of AI-generated content. Key concepts in parapsychology, an in-depth overview. Parapsychology is a field of study concerned with the investigation of paranormal and psychic phenomena, often referred to as psi phenomena. Unlike traditional psychology, which focuses on observable behavior and brain processes, parapsychology delves into experiences that appear to transcend the known laws of physics and biology. While controversial and often met with skepticism from mainstream science, parapsychological research employs scientific methodologies to explore these enigmatic occurrences. What is parapsychology? At its core, parapsychology is the scientific and academic study of a class of phenomena that are not currently explained by conventional scientific understanding. These phenomena are typically categorized into two main types: extrasensory perception, ESP, which is the reception of information not gained through the recognized physical senses, but through the mind, and psychokinesis, PK, which is the ability to influence physical systems without physical interaction. The term psi, from the Greek letter /psi, is often used as a neutral term to refer to these phenomena collectively, without implying any specific mechanism or validity. Historical roots and evolution. The formal study of parapsychology emerged in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, largely spurred by a cultural fascination with spiritualism, mesmerism, and the broader Victorian era's interest in the unknown. This period saw a desire to apply scientific inquiry to claims of psychic abilities and the survival of consciousness after death, moving beyond mere anecdotal accounts or outright charlatanism. Organizations like the Society for Psychical Research, SPR, in the UK, founded in 1882 by prominent figures including philosophers Henry Sidgwick and F.W.H. Myers, and the American Society for Psychical Research, ASPR, in the U.S., founded in 1885, were established with the explicit aim to rigorously investigate claims of psychic abilities using scientific methods. These early efforts were historically significant for attempting to bring systematic observation and documentation to phenomena previously relegated to folklore or religious belief. A pivotal moment that truly marked the shift towards modern parapsychology came with J.B. Rhine at Duke University in the 1930s. Rhine, a botanist by training, introduced quantitative, experimental methods to the field, moving away from anecdotal evidence and qualitative case studies. His work, particularly with Zener cards, a deck of 25 cards with 5 different symbols, aimed to statistically demonstrate the existence of ESP. His 1934 book, Extrasensory Perception, became a landmark publication, widely considered to be the origin of modern experimental parapsychology. This marked a crucial shift from psychical research, which often focused on mediumship and apparitions, to parapsychology, emphasizing laboratory experiments and statistical analysis of psi phenomena. The historical relevance of Rhine's work lies in its attempt to establish a scientific foundation for the study of psi, making it testable and quantifiable, even if his findings and methodology continue to be debated. Core concepts: extrasensory perception, ESP. ESP refers to the purported ability to acquire information by means of the mind, independent of the known sensory channels. The primary forms of ESP include telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, and retrocognition. Telepathy is the direct mental communication or transfer of thoughts, feelings, or ideas from one person's mind to another's without the use of conventional sensory channels. Examples include knowing what a loved one is thinking or receiving a mental message from someone far away. Research methods often involve a sender concentrating on an image or thought and a receiver attempting to perceive it, with results assessed against chance expectation. The Gansfeld experiment is a prominent method used to test telepathy, developed by parapsychologists Charles Honorton and others in the 1970s. Clairvoyance, from French, meaning clear seeing, is the alleged ability to gain information about an object, person, location, or physical event through means other than the known human senses. This differs from telepathy in that it involves perceiving objective information, not another person's thoughts. Examples include knowing the contents of a sealed box, perceiving events happening in a distant location, or finding a lost object. Research methods often involve participants attempting to describe hidden targets, e.g., pictures in sealed envelopes, or remote locations, a protocol that was formalized in remote viewing studies, notably associated with experiments conducted at Stanford Research Institute, SRI, for the U.S. government in the 1970s and 80s. Precognition is the purported ability to see or know events in the future before they happen. This is one of the most challenging forms of psi to explain, as it implies a non-linear relationship with time. Examples include dreaming about a future event that later occurs, or having a sudden hunch about a future outcome that proves correct. Research methods might involve participants trying to predict the order of randomly generated events or the outcome of future random trials. Retrocognition is the alleged ability to perceive past events or information that could not have been learned or inferred by normal means. While less commonly studied than precognition, it represents a similar challenge to conventional understanding of time. Examples include gaining knowledge of historical events without prior research, or experiencing visions of past occurrences at a specific location. Core concepts: psychokinesis (PK). Psychokinesis, often referred to as telekinesis, is the purported ability to influence physical matter, energy, or systems with the mind alone, without physical interaction. PK is broadly divided into two categories: micro-PK and macro-PK. Micro-PK refers to the ability to influence very small-scale events, often at the quantum or statistical level. This is the most commonly studied form of PK in laboratory settings. Examples include influencing the output of a random number generator, RNG, affecting the decay rate of radioactive isotopes, or subtly influencing the fall of dice. Research methods often involve participants trying to influence the binary output of an RNG, e.g., trying to get more ones than zeros, or the movement of microscopic particles. This approach was pioneered by Rhine and later extended by researchers like Robert G. John at Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research, PAIR, lab starting in the late 1970s. Macro-PK refers to the ability to influence large-scale, observable physical objects or events. This is the type of PK most commonly depicted in fiction, e.g., moving objects with the mind, but is rarely, if ever, demonstrated under controlled laboratory conditions. Examples include bending spoons, levitating objects, or causing lights to flicker. Claims of macro-PK are highly scrutinized and often attributed to illusion, trickery, or misinterpretation, with replicable evidence under controlled conditions being virtually non-existent. Other related phenomena. Beyond ESP and PK, parapsychology also investigates a range of other experiences that suggest non-physical aspects of consciousness or interactions with unknown forces. These include near-death experiences, NDEs, out-of-body experiences, OBs, apparitions and hauntings, and reincarnation and survival of consciousness. NDEs are profound subjective experiences reported by individuals who have been close to death or clinically dead and then resuscitated. Common features include out-of-body sensations, encounters with deceased loved ones, a review of one's life, feelings of peace and euphoria, and moving towards a bright light. NDEs are studied for their implications regarding the nature of consciousness and the possibility of survival after bodily death, notably by researchers such as Raymond Moody, whose 1975 book Life After Life popularized the term and brought scientific attention to the phenomenon. OBs are experiences in which a person perceives the world from a location outside their physical body. They can occur spontaneously, during sleep, meditation, or as part of an NDE. Researchers investigate whether individuals can perceive verifiable information while in an OB state, suggesting a form of non-local consciousness. Apparitions refer to the perception of a deceased person or animal, while hauntings involve recurring phenomena, e.g., unexplained noises, moving objects, temperature changes, associated with a specific location. These phenomena are investigated for evidence of post-mortem survival or residual energy imprints, a long-standing area of inquiry for early psychical researchers. Some parapsychological research explores the concept of reincarnation, particularly through cases of children who report memories of past lives. The work of Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia, who meticulously documented hundreds of such cases, represents a significant historical effort in this highly speculative area. The broader question of whether consciousness can survive the death of the physical body is a central, albeit highly speculative, area of inquiry within parapsychology. Methodology and challenges in parapsychology. Parapsychological research strives to use rigorous scientific methods, including controlled experiments, statistical analysis, and peer review. However, the field faces significant methodological and conceptual challenges. The reliance on statistical significance for subtle effects, first formalized by Rhine, has shaped much of the experimental design. Experimental approaches include the Ganzfeld experiment, a common method for testing telepathy or clairvoyance where a receiver is placed in a sound-attenuated, dimly lit room with diffused light and white noise, while a sender, in a separate location, focuses on a randomly selected target. The receiver then describes their mental impressions and chooses the target from decoys, with success rates compared to chance. Remote viewing is a structured protocol for clairvoyance, often involving a viewer attempting to describe a distant, hidden target location or object. Random number generator (RNG) experiments are used to test micro-PK, where participants attempt to mentally influence the output of an electronic RNG, and deviations from chance expectation are analyzed statistically. Parapsychology is a highly controversial field, primarily due to the replicability crisis, which is the difficulty in consistently replicating positive experimental results across different laboratories and researchers, a fundamental concern for scientific validity. This challenge has roots in the inconsistent nature of purported psi effects themselves. Critics often point to potential methodological weaknesses in experiments, such as sensory leakage, statistical errors, selective reporting of data, or inadequate randomization, which have historically been sources of skepticism. Mainstream science often views psi phenomena as inherently unfalsifiable or as remnants of pre-scientific thinking, arguing that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Interestingly, some experiments show participants performing below chance expectation, a phenomenon termed psi missing, which is sometimes interpreted as an unconscious avoidance of the target, suggesting an active, albeit negative, psi effect. Current status and future directions. Despite the controversies, parapsychological research continues in various universities and private institutes worldwide, often at institutions like the University of Edinburgh's Kessler Parapsychology Unit or the Institute of Noetic Sciences, IONS. In the U.S., researchers often publish in specialized journals, e.g., Journal of Parapsychology, Journal of Scientific Exploration, and present at conferences. The field remains at the fringes of mainstream science, largely due to the lack of a widely accepted theoretical framework for psi and the persistent challenges with replication. However, proponents argue that cumulative meta-analyses of experiments show small, but statistically significant effects that cannot be easily explained by conventional means. Future directions in parapsychology often involve improved methodologies, such as developing more rigorous experimental designs and controls to address criticisms and theoretical development, seeking new theoretical models, possibly drawing from quantum physics or consciousness studies, that could accommodate psi phenomena. Additionally, interdisciplinary approaches, collaborating with researchers in fields like neuroscience, psychology, and physics, are being pursued to gain new perspectives. It is crucial to distinguish parapsychology from pseudoscience. While parapsychology employs scientific methods to investigate phenomena, it is distinct from practices like fortune-telling or spiritualism, which often lack empirical rigor. The scientific community generally remains unconvinced by the evidence for psi, but the field continues to explore the boundaries of human experience and consciousness. Copyright 2025.